Hello and welcome to Asia Now. In this video, I'll tell you about Vitaly to soon release documentary on Philippines experience in jail and his deportation after he makes his first public post, a heartbreaking video of the moment a Nigerian man loses his life in the Philippines caught on CCTV, foreigner steals money from a register, a drunk American arrested for attacking Thai police truck, and more, beginning with a quick look at our fan favorite USD to peso exchange rate. Looks like the Philippine peso has dropped to its lowest in history. Yet again, it continues to break its own record. Seems like weekly now, $1 equal to 59.477. The last one being the lowest was 59.44, if I recall correctly. Just a reminder, just because you get more pesos does not mean you get more value. Oftentimes, inflation is higher or people simply raise the prices of things. That just simply means it's worse for the locals and may not affect us so much unless we're actually exchanging in the tens of hundreds of thousands of that dollars. Jumping into our main story, Russian vlogger Vitaly recounted his experience being imprisoned in the Philippines for allegedly harassing people for content. He claims he will release a full documentary about his ordeal soon. He was deported to Russia earlier this month and blacklisted from returning to the Philippines. If by earlier this month you mean just a few days ago, then yeah. You know what? There was another post going around, but that was before his deportation, which I immediately flagged as AI, and I was correct. But this one is legit. I did go to his X page, or formerly known as Twitter page, and confirmed that this is real and legit. This got over 2.1 million views in just about 7 hours, where he says, after 290 days in the Philippines jail with rats, cockroaches, and about 35 degrees Celsius weather, I'm finally free. They really tried to break me, but it built me. Out of the 290 days, I spent 91 days in complete isolation. They wanted me gone, but I'm here. All glory to God. And apparently he did find God, because he was talking about that in prison. I'm curious to see the type of direction he takes with this, because this is not the end. It may be the end for him in the Philippines, but this man is extremely popular, because despite how you and I may feel about him, there's a large audience that's just waiting to see what kind of shenanigans he gets up to next. Now, our next story, I covered this about 5 days ago. Unfortunately, a Nigerian man was fatally stabbed, and I got an email that gave me some more details about this. And at that time, I didn't have the visuals to put up on screen, so I simply used a map. And this is what actually went down, and I got an email regarding this, so I'll give you guys a little bit of detail of what I was told. So I have two videos here. The first one being of the Nigerian victim named Morgan, who was sitting in the back of a jeepney and had his phone snatched. And the other one is of him being attacked after attempting to retrieve his phone. This is what the email said, quote, "He was a friend of ours, and the very large African population in Makati is outraged that the suspect hasn't been identified publicly. If the roles were reversed and Nigerian stabbed and robbed and killed a Filipino, would be all over the news, maybe international news. Or if it was a female backpacker from England or a U.S. Army retired vet like myself, but because it's just some black guy from Africa, nothing is being said about it. And this guy was an absolute champion of a human being." The second video is outside someone's house, where you can hear my friend telling him he will give him money. He just wants his phone back. It breaks my heart every time I hear it.
I give you money, yeah? I give you money. Yeah. Don't. I give you money. Oi. Bro. I will give you money. Give me my phone. My phone.
And that is true. It is sad to see this man simply wanted his phone back. In exchange, he was even willing to give some money. Now, it's sad that this happened, but I'm not showing this for a shock value at all. The point of this is to put a face to the person that was victimized and lost his life to this. And a reminder to all of us, just be aware, because you don't know what kind of people are out there. Somebody snatching your phone, you might feel like you can do something about it, but in reality, you don't know what these people are capable of, what kind of weapons they might have, what kind of substances they are on. I'm sure Morgan, in his wildest dream, probably never would have thought something bad like this is going to happen to him when he simply wanted to retrieve his phone, and even for exchange for money. Who knows what he's got on that phone? Maybe all of his personal banking information. Your phone these days has access to everything, so obviously he wanted it back, but unfortunately it ended tragically for him. May he rest in peace, and the suspects serve the absolute most time for their crimes. Speaking of crimes, 2 foreigners were arrested in a separate immigration enforcement operation in Zamboanga on January 20th. A Chinese national identified as Peter Chan was apprehended in Aurora, Zamboanga del Sur for allegedly engaging in business activities beyond the scope of his 9G work visa. Authorities are also investigating 2 other Chinese nationals for possible immigration and documentary irregularities involving Philippines birth certificates and passports. In short, they were using fake documents, and one guy was doing business when he didn't have the right visa to be doing business. And these birth certificates and the passports are common, especially in the southern parts of the Philippines. You can obtain legitimate passports and birth certificates for just a small fee, I would say. So yeah, they got to do some more work on the other end of things, not just from the criminal side, because the passports and the birth certificates are often legit, but they know this person's not Filipino, so that's where they get the fraudulent case. In some more crime news, police raided a rented room in Cebu City used to stockpile stolen cell phones. After one suspect was arrested, authorities said. Cebu City Police Office Chief Police Colonel George Yalanan said more than 100 cell phones were recovered and placed under police custody, noting that some of the units were stolen during the Sinulog Festival. Speaking of which, was like crazy as always. Lots of people from what I saw. Sinulog brings like over, I'd say about 5 million, they said was the number this year. So it's wild, and this is a perfect opportunity for criminals to go ahead and try to snatch your belongings. So be careful. If you're out there, hold on to your stuff. Next up, very quickly, Senator Raffy Tulfo has filed a measure seeking to mandate the reimbursement of travel expenses incurred by Filipino passengers who were deferred or denied boarding due to unjustified and prolonged pre-departure procedures of the Bureau of Immigration. Okay, good stuff to see. If you don't know, the Philippines is one of the few countries still imposes a travel tax on its Filipino citizens as well as long-term residents. Although a lot of countries do this, they usually try to sneak it into the details of the flight ticket, but the Philippines is a complete separate thing and very visible, and a lot of people have an issue with that as well, which is all over social media lately. If you are a long-term resident and had to pay some Filipino travel tax when just going to Thailand or a neighboring country, please give me some more details about your first-hand experience regarding travel tax. Moving on over to Thailand, a heavily drunken American tourist was arrested this morning on Soi 6 after randomly deciding it would be a good idea to attack a Pattaya municipal officer's truck patrolling the streets for no reason, say police. It wasn't a good idea. One thing I want to say, I'm not saying that cow-sewed English is racist, but I've noticed a lot of times they don't blur out the faces of black gentlemen. They tend to do it for many other nationalities, but for some reason, when it comes to African prostitutes or just any African-American looking black dude, they usually don't cover their face. So I don't know if cow-sewed is getting their images directly from their own reporters on the street, or they also get it from somewhere else, like I am, for example. I don't know about that. I never blur anybody's face unless the sources blurred it out, just because if I did that, the whole thing would be just blur and blur. Obviously, allegations. I think we all know innocent till proven guilty. Besides the point, it's not about me. It's about cow-sewed English. What's going on, bro? What's going on over here? Not trying to stir things up, but maybe a little bit of something you could consider in the future, or give me a reason why I think this pattern is quite obvious. Another pattern in Thailand is misbehaving tourists, especially thieves. In Phuket, a foreigner stole 2,000 bahts from a spa shop on Ranong Road. The suspect is a foreigner wearing a baseball cap. They came as a group of 3 people. The victim has already filed a police report. If you have any information, please contact officials in your area. Really, bro? For $60, you're gonna do that? $60? 2,000 bahts? I think some people just do this from like the thrill of it. I don't really know what kind of person doesn't have $60 but they want to go to Thailand just to steal. Personally, I really hope he gets arrested and put into Thai prison for a couple weeks, if not months, just so he understands what reality is like. It's not just about fun and games. This is somebody's life. Imagine being a business owner, the sheer hurtfulness of somebody stealing from your register like that when you trusted them by going to the back or something. Because, yeah, I mean, criminals can be from anywhere, but someone that's just a tourist coming into your country as a guest, I think it might sting just a little extra. You know who else was being extra is this dude. Traffic chaos briefly unfolded in Phuket after a foreign man was seen rolling on a busy road near the EDC festival area. The incident captured on video quickly spread online and drew mixed reactions ranging from concern to disbelief. Vehicles were forced to slow or stop as the man's behavior posed a clear safety risk. a companion eventually intervened and removed him from the road. The episode has reignited conversation about festival safety, alcohol use, and public responsibility in tourist hotspots. Nothing quite new. Misbehaving, drunk, or out of their mind is a normal sight in Thailand. This is just the latest, which I thought was quite comical. You know what? Not comical. The reaction you guys had regarding yesterday's video in our segment yesterday today, where a lot of people had issue with the taxes imposed on foreign service providers, even websites that operate in the Philippines, like Agoda, Booking.com, any kind of flight, Google Flights, whatever you're using. If it's not a Filipino business, then they have to pay an additional 25% tax on top of the VAT, which is the highest in Southeast Asia, by the way. SBS 244 says, ha, they confirmed something. They have no business sense. Failing business, raise prices. Whoa, over 70 likes for that one. User Dr. Joe Future says, this will be the last nail in the coffin for Philippine tourism in Asia. And Jason Vlog says they'll be destroying the tourism even more. Telepolo says, all the tax revenue goes to corrupted government officials and not to Philippine citizens. Yeah, I think we all know this. And Mzaki4949 says, it totally makes sense. When you lose customers, squeeze the remaining ones harder. Eventually, you'll never need to worry about having any customers. Yes, nobody was happy regarding those taxes. And those were some quick hits regarding news in the Philippines, Thailand. If you guys have stuck around this long, you may have enjoyed the video. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing or maybe hitting that like button. If you think this video is informative or maybe even entertaining, maybe you can share it on Facebook or your WhatsApp group, whatever, so we can get some more eyes on Asia now. I do appreciate all of you guys sharing your thoughts in the comment section. Even if we don't agree, I welcome all comers. Don't think that way. That's kind of nasty. Anyway, see you guys next time. Bye.